Fantastic. Amit, I just wanted to pick up on something that you've said and use an anecdote to do that. And I'll call it the tale of two organizations, both very much in the midst of the energy transition, and how varying speeds not only happen at a national, at an industry, or even at a business level, they actually happen at a very personal level. The one organization, an energy business, very much in the transition from fossil fuels into clean energy, a mammoth task involving the organization right from its key stakeholders at a national level, investors right through the board, executive management, various parts of this large organization. It's fascinating to see how within the organization it's responding at different speeds. And I can even point to a particular event at which these speeds converged. And it was, in fact, a leadership process that they've engaged with, where at a particular point, suddenly those things converge. It didn't have to be pushed. It simply happened with good preparation work and the right inspiration, and them being able to really start to see how they imagined the energy transition could take place was visible. It was in front of them. They could make today's decision based on it. The second organization is very much in a different industry, in the telecommunications industry, but very much through its involvement in data centers, a substantive force when it comes to the energy transition and how it applies to technology organization and to the use of data by large organizations. And again, a similar pattern of starting slow, making sense of the energy transition, cautious in its decision making. And at some point, what we found is that the speed at which the organization was changing was actually happening at two different speeds. The way in which the board and significant shareholders were responding to this was becoming different to what the executive management were willing and what their appetite was. And it actually took about a recalibration process of almost a year to bring these various forces together to a point where they were all singing from the same hymn sheet, and for them to look at their customers as really being that source of value for which various services within the energy field could be provided. So two wonderful stories of successful transitions, still very much in their midst, but how, or the power, in fact, of different speeds converging to create an impact.
Well, that's very apt. In fact, that's very reflective of my own experiences as well. I think if different parts of the company are moving at different paces, that's quite natural. It's to be expected. To expect otherwise would be highly idealistic. So in terms of delivering a message, what you have to do is you don't fixate on yourself, on the deliverer. You have to put yourself in the place of the people who are expected to receive the message, see how prepared they are, and be willing to go to take it step by step to bring them to where they need to be. And for that, you as an individual need to put your political capital on the line. You need to explain why this is so worthy of people's attention and how they need to move. And you have to get similar advocates for you. And these advocates can be at different levels. Preferably, at least one of these advocates should be at the top level of the company. And then gradually that can lead to the creation of awareness of these at all these different levels and across these cross-functional teams. So that's one way to start pushing that needle and bringing people to the table. And it does take time. You just have to be committed to the message. You have to repeat the message over and over again ad infinitum. In our case, for instance, it took a few years. It took a few years of us going every 6 months and gradually showing that hey, it's imminent, it's imminent, it's imminent. And at one stage, actually, what we were talking about was imminent in 2020, actually happened 5 years before that, and that led to a massive change because then people realized, oh my, this is not something that's going to come; it's something that's already here, and that led to, in my case, that led to a very rapid shift in the business model of the company. It led to a move into renewables. It led to an expansion of business models into other areas like electric mobility, like energy efficiency, and so on and so forth. So I think we can talk about these subjects in more detail going forward, but that's when the whole mentality of change sets in, and it helps if you have some key people who are willing to put their political capital on the line. The organization will come through at some point. Eventually, business rationale or economic rationale always wins. It's just that the process is very messy.
Yeah, in fact, it is, and I'm glad you used the word messy because we often refer to all the work that we do as solving messy challenges. So now that we've spoken a bit about the role of strategy and the role of leadership and how intertwined that work is, I just want to pop back into the result of the first poll. So how do you see the crisis over the next 5 years? It seems to be quite a strong consensus. 73% of you said it will accelerate the shift towards a cleaner energy mix. With 9% saying we'll maintain the current trajectory, and 18%, not an insignificant amount though, saying it will decelerate. So really, really interesting results.